Habits. A settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that's hard to give up. Habits can be good or bad, so it's important to start habits that you think will be beneficial for you. And today, we'll be giving you 5 good habits to make you an amazing duelist. The first good habit is guaranteed to increase your kills as a duelist, and this habit's called the green light rule. When a car's drive into an intersection, there's gonna be a stoplight. Most of the time, it's either red or green. When it's red, you stop, but you wait till you get the green light to go again. Let's apply this rule to entering a site as a duelist. Your stoplight will be your initiator, and the green light is their utility. You have to wait for the green light to entry onto the site. Each initiator has different abilities or green lights to help you get onto the site. So habit 1 is waiting for your green lights and utility to entry the site. Breach stuns, Sova drones, KO ult, or fade dogs are all green lights to start the push onto site. This habit's great for duelists because they're the first one onto the site. And if it was just one duelist entering against an entire site by themselves, it would be almost impossible. There's too many angles to clear by yourself, and on top of that, you have to deal against the enemy's abilities, and on top of that, you have to win your gunfight. Realistically, you can't do this, but that's why initiators and supporting utility is in the game. They help duelists isolate gunfights, or even have an advantage in them. So the next time you have your entire team behind you waiting to go onto the site, remember that your green light needs to go off before you go out. But sometimes a red light feels like it's taken forever. You just sit there waiting for the green light. Sometimes you wish you could just say, yo, I've been sitting here forever. Just turn green already. Unfortunately, you can't do that in a real car, but you can do that in Valorant games. If your initiators are the stoplights and their abilities are the green lights, you can ask for the green lights to be sooner or later. Communication between the duelist and the initiator is so important because timing could mean the difference between winning the round or stunning a teammate and losing the round. Habit number 2 is get used to asking for utility. Communicating where you see people or how much damage you do is the basics of calming in-game. But good duelists know what kinds of abilities they need to entry onto a site. The best duelists know how to ask for the utility. No one's going to get mad at you for wanting to win the game. It keeps people on the same page and overall helps your team's morale because it's hard to get people to communicate. Here's an extreme example from NRG Psalm.
I'm gonna walk up cat.
Asher, pre-place an orb here. Just pre-place an orb here and entry with us. KO, you knife close. Knife right here.
Here.
And then fade, you ult like this.
On my way. Here. Keep up.
You just insta walk up cat, trust.
Go.
Bring them down.
Hit me with that.
Oh, wait. We'll wait till after.
Wait.
Perfect, we'll wait. You fade ult ASAP?
Stop going. He's in the smoke.
Close shroud and right side heaven.
Shot down.
One enemy remains.
The round was kind of messy, but I went through the whole game and I want to give you guys some context. Psalm ended the half winning 9-3, and then they switched to the attacker side. Attacking is a lot more team-oriented than defense because you have to rely on teammates for certain utility like drones and smokes. They were really struggling to pick up rounds until Psalm started to ask for utility and telling people where to use it. Psalm did a great job on their last round slowing down the push, knowing his team was mollied, then communicating for the fade ult. He was able to create the space with the Jett dash and use the fade ult to find the first blood. People think a duelist needs to kill 3 every round, but sometimes just entering allows your team to make plays off the space you create. Speaking of needing or wanting a lot of kills, a lot of duelist players like to push spawn or aggressive areas after the team already has sight. And this could be a bad habit for some people, so I want to get people to undo that habit and replace it with this next habit. When a duelist entries onto a site, their job is to create the space on site to allow their team to plant the spike. Whether that's killing the enemy on site or holding space that the enemy gave up, you need to help your team get onto the site. But I see so many duelist players pushing up way too far, and this causes them to die. Their excuse for this poor play is that they, quote, got theirs, and this means they got their kill for the round. They believe if everyone gets 1 kill, then they'll win the round, but Valorant is so much more complicated than that. So instead of throwing throwing your life away in the enemy spawn. Let's use your life as a start switch. What I mean by that is instead of pushing up, play in an area where you'll take first contact so teammates can swing off of you. Habit number 3 is playing in positions where you're useful for your teammates. The biggest example is on Haven A site. Some duelists like to look for gunfights in spawn, but that's just giving the enemy the opportunity to make their retake easier. Instead of taking that gunfight, reposition to graffiti and start setting up a trap or crossfires with your team. One teammate can play default and swing when you get into an engagement. Another teammate can be in hell holding a crossfire. Crossfires are so dangerous because it's impossible to kill both players at the same time, making them very deadly when people push into them. But none of this can happen if you as the duelist pushes up and lose your gunfight in spawn. Now, some of you might be saying, then just win your gunfight. Valorant is like a percentage game. If you take that gunfight, you take the chance of losing and giving up your team's advantage. If you don't take the gunfight but instead create a crossfire, this also increases the chances of your teammates being valuable because they're not taking 1v1 aim duels, but rather using you to help them make the gunfight as easy as possible. Now, all that advice is great when your team's even or up a player, but here's where I contradict myself. Now I'm telling you that taking the gunfight is a good thing. This brings us to habit number 4, which is taking gunfights to even out the players. When a round drags out for a while, people are going to take gunfights, and your teammates are going to lose them sometimes. This gives the other team a numbers advantage, and this advantage is crucial when it comes to site taking or retaking. It's crucial because if the team that has the advantage plays it right, they can trade each other and win the round. This is where pushing up and taking a gunfight comes into play. As a duelist, you have abilities that can help you win gunfights. This makes you the ideal person to look for a gunfight to even out numbers. A good example is when it's a 2v5 and your team has the spike down. If the other team retakes with 5 people, they're going to overwhelm the 2 players just by numbers, no matter the guns. So before the 2 players plant the spike, one of them could walk further and look for a potential pick to make the retake harder for them. I'm sure I don't have to explain that this doesn't mean push into their spawn when it's a 3v3 or 4v4, so let's just go on to habit number 5. And this habit is a hard one to get used to, but super easy and valuable once you do it. As a duelist, you should be the first one going onto a site most of the time, but being the first one in doesn't mean the only one in. You need to have teammates behind you supporting you while you entry. But sometimes duelist players see an opportunity and use their movement abilities and end up dying. When they look at their minimap, they don't see any teammates in sight. This is usually followed up with a comm like, "Where's my team?" Habit number 5 prevents this from ever happening again, and it's looking at your minimap before you entry. A quick glance can win you the round. That's crazy to think about, but having your team 10 meters or 2 meters away from you could be the difference between them getting onto site with you or being stuck behind a molly while you're fighting by yourself. It's gonna feel weird at first because you're so focused on using abilities and trying to find out where the enemy's playing, but you need to find that discipline of taking that 1 second to see if your team's close enough and ready to take the site. You now have 5 good habits you can start training with today. Thanks for watching the video, and we hope you learned something new today. Have a great day and good luck in your games.
Remember though, if you're really looking to improve at Valorant, then you've got to check out SkillCapped.com. Over on the site, we have hundreds of hours of exclusive content designed to take your game to the next level. It's also all backed by our rank improvement guarantee, meaning if you don't improve while actively using our service, you'll get your money back, no questions asked. We do this because our service works, and if it doesn't work, you shouldn't pay. So, what are you waiting for? Get started on your climb at SkillCapped.com, link in the description below.